My hands remain steady as I sign the final acquisition papers, a satisfied smile playing at my lips. Through the window of my attorney's sleek downtown office, I can see the gleaming headquarters of Vertex Technologies, my husband Nathan's pride and joy. The irony isn't lost on me. While he's hosting a lavish business dinner for his executive assistant Olivia at Mirabelle, the same restaurant where he proposed to me 4 years ago, I'm finalizing the paperwork that will make me the majority shareholder of his company. Ms. Harper, are you absolutely certain about the timing? Michael, my attorney, watches me with a mixture of admiration and concern as he organizes another stack of documents. We could wait until... I turn my phone toward him, showing Nathan's most recent Instagram story. The timestamp reads 3 minutes ago. Creating memories with the finest team in tech. Blessed Ma, living my best life. The photo shows a champagne flute at Mirabelle's VIP section, his limited edition Omega watch visible in the frame, the one I gifted him for his 35th birthday last year. The timing, I say, signing another paper with flourish, is perfect. My phone buzzes with a text from Nathan. Working late tonight, sweetheart. Quarterly projections are a nightmare. Don't wait up. Love you. I've saved every message like this from the past 6 months. Each one corresponds perfectly with credit card charges at high-end restaurants, luxury hotels, or designer boutiques. The ones he doesn't know I can track. The ones that match exactly with Olivia's suspiciously lavish Instagram posts, each tagged with subtle hints about her generous mentor. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. What Nathan doesn't know is that I've been aware for months. Every business dinner, every client emergency, every suspicious withdrawal from our joint savings account, I've documented it all. But unlike most betrayed wives, I didn't confront him. I didn't throw his designer suits onto the lawn or key his precious Tesla. Instead, I did what I do best. I strategized. This one, Michael points to a particular document, initiates the full corporate audit once you sign. After that, there's no going back. I think about this morning, how Nathan kissed my cheek before leaving for work, how he promised we'd plan that trip to Kyoto soon. Meanwhile, I'd already seen the Kyoto reservations he'd made, not for us, but for him and Olivia next month, paid for with our joint savings. Good, I say, my signature flowing across the paper. That's exactly what I want. My phone lights up with another notification. An Instagram story from Olivia showing off a distinctive blue Tiffany box captioned, "When he knows exactly what you deserve." I screenshot it, noting the time and date. It matches perfectly with the purchase notification from our joint account, the one Nathan thinks I never check. The forensic accounting team will begin their investigation Monday morning, Michael explains, organizing the papers. Given what you've already uncovered about the company's financial irregularities, they'll find twice as much as we already know. I finish for him, pulling up a folder on my phone. Here's every transaction he's tried to hide through that shell company he set up. The one where Olivia mysteriously became director of special projects 3 months ago, despite her only experience being as an executive assistant. Michael's eyes widen as he scrolls through the documents. This is incredibly thorough. I had a lot of free evenings, I say dryly. You know, with all his client meetings. As if on cue, my phone buzzes with a group chat notification, our friends planning a weekend getaway. Nathan responds, immediately. Sorry everyone, have to skip. Flying to Chicago for an investor meeting. I have to suppress a laugh. I know about that investor meeting too. I've seen the hotel reservation in Napa Valley. First-class tickets for 2 charged to our joint credit card. Last one, Michael says, sliding the final paper across the desk. This initiates the full corporate takeover. Once you sign this, I don't hesitate. My signature flows across the paper, years of anger and betrayal channeled into each curve and line. Another notification pops up. Nathan going live on Instagram from what's supposed to be his client meeting. Mirabelle's distinctive decor visible in the background. Let them celebrate, I say, standing up and smoothing my dress, the one Nathan bought me last month out of guilt. By Monday morning, they'll have a very different story to share. Michael gathers the papers, his expression both impressed and slightly unnerved. You know, in 15 years of handling corporate acquisitions, I've never seen anyone quite as prepared, I suggest, picking up my bag. Or maybe just tired of being underestimated. As I walk out of the office, my phone buzzes one last time. Nathan sending his nightly check-in. Miss you, beautiful. Can't wait to come home to you. I smile, typing back. Sleep well, darling. Monday's going to be interesting. He'll think it's just another loving message from his unsuspecting wife. But then again, he always did underestimate me. That's about to become his most expensive mistake. Little does he know, while he's been playing his games, I've been playing a much longer one. 2 years ago, when his company was on the verge of collapse, I was the one who found the angel investors to save it. Nathan was too busy with his networking events to attend the final meetings. He never bothered to read the updated investment agreements, the ones that gave his trophy wife special acquisition rights if certain conditions were met. Conditions like financial impropriety. Conditions that his affair with Olivia and their reduce. Extravagant spending of company funds have now triggered. Monday morning can't come soon enough. The morning after signing those initial papers, I dress with meticulous care. Armani silk blouse, tailored Burberry suit, and the Van Cleef & Arpels earrings Nathan's mother gave me last Christmas. The mirror reflects exactly what Nathan expects to see. His perfectly polished wife, the former marketing strategist he loves to introduce as his beautiful but business-naive partner at company gatherings. If he only knew I spent 5 years as a mergers and acquisitions specialist at Goldman Sachs before we met. Good morning, darling, I call out as he stumbles into our marble kitchen, clearly hungover from last night's client meeting. The coffee machine hums quietly, filling our $5 million Beacon Hill townhouse with the aroma of his favorite Jamaican Blue Mountain blend. I made your breakfast, I say cheerfully. He kisses my cheek, reeking of expensive cologne and guilt. The same cologne I noticed on Olivia's latest Instagram post from their accidental run-in at Saks yesterday. You're too good to me, babe. If only you knew, I think, sliding his coffee across our Carrara marble counter. The same counter where I'd sat until 3 a.m. last night on a secure video call with Elise, my old colleague from Goldman. Elise, who now heads their technology acquisition division. Elise, who nearly spat out her whiskey when I showed her what I'd found in Nathan's private company transactions. Another early meeting? I ask innocently, watching him check his phone. His lock screen is still our vacation. Photo from Santorini last summer, but I know his background is Olivia. I've seen it reflected in his car window when he texts her during our dinner dates. Yeah, the Richardson portfolio is killing me. He runs a hand through his perfectly styled hair, distracted. The Richardson portfolio that doesn't exist. I've already confirmed the Richardsons moved their business to McKinsey 6 months ago. Don't work too hard, I say, squeezing his shoulder. He doesn't notice me taking a photo of his phone screen in the reflection of our Wolf Range's chrome surface, capturing Olivia's message about their lunch plans at the new Mario Batali restaurant. After he leaves, I transform our home office into my command center. The framed photos of our wedding at the Boston Public Library disappear into drawers, replaced by printouts of bank statements, corporate documents, and property records. My friend Zoe, a corporate attorney I've known since our Harvard days, sits cross-legged on my custom West Elm rug, surrounded by papers. Jesus Christ, she mutters, holding up a document. Did he really think he could hide these corporate funds? Diversions behind a shell company registered in the Cayman Islands? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. He registered it under his childhood dog's name, the one that died 12 years ago. Zoe shakes her head, adding the paper to our growing evidence pile. Men like him always think they're the smartest person in the room. That's because they never bother looking around, I reply, pulling up another document on my laptop. Look at this. Every time he meets Olivia, he files it as a business development expense. The 5-star hotels with a woman who's supposedly advising him on corporate strategy, despite not knowing the difference between an IPO and an invoice. My phone buzzes, a group text from our friend Madeline about her upcoming charity gala at the Museum of Fine Arts. Nathan responds immediately with another excuse. Olivia, I notice, has already marked herself unavailable on the event's planning committee list. They're getting careless, I observe, adding another screenshot to my collection. Have you talked to Judge Watkins yet? Zoe asks, referring to our friend who oversees corporate disputes in the district. I nod, pulling up an encrypted email chain. She's ready. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The moment we file on Monday, she'll randomly schedule an emergency hearing about suspicious corporate activities, the same hearing that will reveal Olivia's company has been receiving payments for consulting since before she even met Nathan. My phone lights up with Nathan's face, his daily check-in call. I answer with practiced cheerfulness, listening to him lie about his lunch meeting while I stare at their restaurant reservation confirmation in my email. The same email account he set up for me, thinking I'd only use it for online shopping. Miss you too, honey, I say, watching Zoe roll her eyes. Don't forget we have dinner with your parents tonight. He pauses, and I can practically hear him texting Olivia to reschedule. Of course, babe, wouldn't miss it. After hanging up, I turn to Zoe. He'll cancel in about 3 hours. Emergency investor meeting. How can you be so sure? I pull up Olivia's Instagram story from this morning, a cryptic post about a special sunset surprise at the new rooftop bar at the Four Seasons. Because I know their routine better than they do. The rest of the day unfolds like a carefully choreographed ballet. I attend my regular board meetings at the Arts Foundations where I serve as a trustee, make appearances at my usual lunch spots, even get my nails done at the salon where Nathan's sister goes. Everything normal, everything routine. No one would suspect that in my Bottega Veneta briefcase, I'm carrying documents that will dismantle a decade of Nathan's careful deceptions. Right on schedule at 4:47 p.m., Nathan texts, "Baby, I'm so sorry. Might have to rain check dinner with my parents. Emergency meeting with the venture capital partners." I respond with just the right amount of disappointment and understanding, watching through my phone's banking alerts as he makes a dinner reservation at Soralina, his and Olivia's favorite spot for their strategy sessions. The venture capital partners haven't scheduled any meetings. I would know. I'm the one who's been talking to them about the new leadership structure at Vertex Technologies. Look what just came in, Zoe says, holding up her phone. Olivia's posted a photo of champagne glasses at sunset, the Four Seasons. Distinctive Boston Harbor view unmistakable in the background. Perfect, I say, adding the screenshot to our collection. That receipt will match beautifully with the emergency business dinner he's about to charge to the corporate account. As evening falls, I sit in our meticulously decorated living room, surrounded by evidence of Nathan's double life and my own careful documentation. Every lie, every secret meeting, every hidden corporate withdrawal, all of it meticulously cataloged and cross-referenced. My phone buzzes with another Instagram notification. Olivia wearing a new Valentino dress that costs more than her supposed monthly consulting fee, captioned with a single champagne emoji. I save it to the folder marked Monday and pour myself a glass of Chateau Margaux from the collection Nathan thinks only he has access to in our wine cellar. Let them have their romantic evening, I murmur, scanning through the latest corporate report Elise sent over. Let them think they're the clever ones, playing their little game of hide-and-seek with the naive wife. I've spent months building this facade of ignorance, and in less than 12 hours, I'll have the pleasure of watching it shatter, along with everything else they thought they could take from me. The forensic accountants finished their preliminary review, Zoe calls from the kitchen, her voice tight with disbelief. You're not going to believe what they found in the offshore accounts. I join her, my heels clicking against our Italian marble floors. On her laptop screen, a complex web of transactions unfolds. A masterpiece of financial deceit that would be almost impressive if it wasn't so staggeringly stupid. He's been transferring company money through 3 different shell companies, Zoe explains, highlighting various transactions, all registered under variations of his dog's name, then funneling it through Olivia's fake consulting firm and into private accounts in the Cayman Islands. I lean closer, a cold smile playing at my lips. Show me the dates of the first transfers. Zoe pulls up a timeline and my smile widens. Just as I thought. He started moving money the day after I brought in the angel investors who saved his company. He never even bothered to check who had final approval power. My phone chimes with a message from Nathan's mother. Darling, are you and Nathan still coming for dinner? I've had Cook prepare his favorite souffle. Poor Diana Harper, still believing her son is the same responsible young man who followed his father's footsteps into technology entrepreneurship. Wait until she discovers how her precious boy has been treating the company his father built from nothing. What about the corporate bylaws? Zoe asks, pulling up another document. Article 7, Section 3. I quote from memory. Any executive or board member found to be engaging in actions that endanger or diminish the company's financial standing can be immediately suspended from duties, pending full investigation. Zoe's eyes gleam. And with Olivia's social media trail, every post, every photo, every location check-in, all matching perfectly with corporate withdrawals and consulting payments, I confirm, pulling up a carefully curated folder on my laptop. They've documented their own misconduct better than we ever could. My phone lights up with another check-in from Nathan. Just wrapped the emergency meeting, baby. Might be a late one. So much paperwork to review. I text back, don't work too hard, darling. Make sure you eat something. Through the window, I can see the lights of the Four Seasons, knowing they're up there right now, celebrating what they think is their perfect deception. Nathan probably congratulating himself on how skillfully he's managed to hide his withdrawals. From the company, Olivia no doubt already planning how to spend more of Vertex Technologies' money. Michael just confirmed, Zoe says, checking her phone. Judge Watkins has cleared her morning calendar. The moment we file, she'll expedite the hearing. I nod, walking to our floor-to-ceiling windows. The Boston skyline sparkles back at me, a constellation of lights that seems to mirror the intricate web of evidence we've woven. Claire, Zoe's voice turned serious, are you absolutely sure about the timing? We could wait until after his company anniversary party next week. His whole executive team will be there. I turn back to her, thinking of the invitation I'd helped design, the lavish celebration planned at the Mandarin Oriental, where Nathan intends to announce his new 5-year vision for Vertex Technologies. The same party where he and Olivia plan to accidentally meet, beginning their public story with a meet-cute his board would approve of. The timing, I say, picking up another stack of documents, is exactly right. Let him stand in front of his entire company, ready to make his big announcement. Zoe raises an eyebrow, right before Judge Watkins' bailiff serves him with the corporate suspension papers. Poetic, isn't it? My phone buzzes again. A text from Olivia to our charity committee group. So sorry to miss tomorrow's meeting, everyone. Last minute. Client emergency. The same meeting where we're supposed to discuss the annual Vertex Technologies Foundation Gala. I add the screenshot to our evidence file, then pull up the company's latest statement. The numbers that Nathan thinks only he understands glow on the screen. If he'd ever bothered to really look, he'd have noticed that every major transaction, every transfer, every withdrawal has required dual authentication for the past 2 years. One code from him, one from the angel investor representative. Me. I've watched every dollar he's tried to hide, every account he's attempted to obscure, every lie he's built his house of cards upon, all while playing the role he assigned me. The beautiful, naive wife who couldn't possibly understand the complexities of corporate finance. His executive board just confirmed. Zoe checks another message. Board meeting scheduled for 9 a.m. Monday. Nathan is supposed to present the new company investment strategy. I smile, remembering the fabricated reports he's been working on, the fake projections he's created to hide his mismanagement of the company. Perfect. That gives Judge Watkins's team plenty of time to arrive by 9:30. My phone lights up one final time for the night. Nathan sending a photo of paperwork scattered across his office desk, actually the Four Seasons. Distinctive stationery visible in the corner. Still grinding, baby. Don't wait up. I text back a single heart emoji, then turn to Zoe. Shall we finish preparing his wake-up call? For the next few hours, we meticulously review every document, every piece of evidence, every single detail of what's about to unfold. By the time Zoe leaves, the sun is starting to rise over Boston Harbor, painting our living room in shades of gold that match the embossed letterhead of Vertex Technologies. I hear Nathan's key in the door around 6 a.m. He tries to be quiet, but his designer shoes still click against the marble floors. I'm already in the kitchen, perfectly dressed, makeup flawless, starting the coffee maker. You're up early, he says, trying to hide his surprise and the faint trace of Olivia's signature Joe Malone perfume on his collar. Thought you could use some breakfast after your late night, I smile, sliding him a cup of coffee. Must have been some important corporate business. You know how it is, he waves vaguely, not meeting my eyes. Sometimes these things can't wait. Oh, darling. I think, watching him check his phone under the table, no doubt messaging Olivia about their close call. You have no idea how right you are. Just a few more hours until Monday morning, when they learn exactly what happens when you mistake silence for ignorance and underestimate the woman you thought you'd fooled. Monday morning dawns clear and crisp, the kind of autumn Boston day that usually has tourists flooding the Common. I wake up at precisely 6:30 a.m., though I've barely slept. Nathan's side of our Fred-aligned bed is empty. He'd left early, eager to prepare for his big presentation to the company board. If he only knew what else was being prepared for him. I dress with surgical precision, a Saint Laurent suit in charcoal gray, Louboutin heels, a gilt gift from Nathan after a particularly expensive weekend with Olivia, and his grandmother's pearl necklace, a symbol of the family business he's about to lose. Every detail matters today. Every piece tells a story. Morning, beautiful. Nathan's voice is unusually chipper when he calls at 7:45 a.m. Just wanted to check. You're coming to the board meeting, right? Thought you might want to see your husband's big moment. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Darling, I reply, watching Michael send confirmation that Judge Watkins has arrived at her chambers. Someone should be there to witness everything you deserve. He chuckles, missing my tone completely. That's my girl. See you at 9. I end the call and pull up the security feed from Vertex Technologies offices. Amazing what being a silent investor grants you access to. Nathan is already there, practicing his presentation in the boardroom mirror, adjusting his Hermes tie with nervous fingers. On another screen, I watch Olivia enter her favorite coffee shop, no doubt planning to celebrate with Nathan after his triumph. Everything's in position, Zoe texts. She's already at the courthouse with Michael, waiting for the perfect moment. Judge Watkins is reviewing the final documents now. I check my watch. 8:15 a.m. Time to set the wheels in motion. My first stop is Vertex Technologies Private Bank, where I've been a familiar face since helping refinance their business loans 2 years ago. Nathan never bothered to attend these meetings, Boring paperwork, he'd called it. His loss. Mrs. Harper, Thomas, the private banking director, greets me warmly. Everything is prepared as requested. I smile, taking a seat in his plush office. And the timing? He slides a document across his mahogany desk. The moment you send the signal, every account Nathan has access to will be flagged for review. The corporate auditors are standing by. Perfect. I sign where indicated, my Mont Blanc pen, another of Nathan's guilt gifts, flowing smoothly across the paper. And his private accounts? Thomas allows himself a small smile. Already under surveillance. The moment the corporate suspension hits, those freeze too. My phone buzzes. A message from Diana Harper, Nathan's mother. Darling, I'm so proud of Nathan today, and so grateful to have you as part of our family. You've been such a blessing. If she only knew how much of a blessing I was about to be. Saving her family's company from her own son's greed. At 8:45 a.m., I enter Vertex Technologies' gleaming office tower, nodding to security guards who know me as the CEO's wife, not realizing I'm actually their superior. The elevator rides smoothly to the 30th floor, where the company Nathan's father built has been housed for 2 decades. Nathan is waiting by the boardroom, practically bouncing with nervous energy. You made it. He kisses my cheek, and I catch a whiff of Olivia's perfume still lingering on his collar. I've got such a good feeling about today. Oh, darling, I murmur, straightening his tie. You have no idea how memorable today is going to be. The boardroom fills quickly with executives and board members. Nathan's father, Richard Harper, takes his place at the head of the table, looking every bit the corporate patriarch in his bespoke suit. If only his son had inherited his integrity along with his features. Before we begin, Richard announces, I want to thank everyone for being here for this momentous occasion. As you know, we're here to discuss the future of Vertex Technologies, and my son Nathan has prepared a comprehensive presentation on our new investment strategy. Nathan stands, straightening his papers with practiced confidence. His PowerPoint presentation glows on the screen behind him, slides full of fake projections and manipulated numbers that took him weeks to fabricate. Good morning, everyone, he begins, flashing his 1,000-watt smile. Today marks a new chapter in the Vertex legacy. 8:59 a.m. My phone vibrates silently in my lap. Zoe's message is simple. Ready. 9:00 a.m. Nathan clicks to his first slide, pointing out fabricated growth projections with practiced charm. As you can see, our company's performance under my guidance has been exceptional. 9:01 a.m. I send a single text. Now. The effect is immediate but subtle at first. Nathan's phone buzzes in his pocket, probably a notification from his banking app. He ignores it, continuing his presentation. It buzzes again, and again, and again. 9:03 a.m. The boardroom door opens silently. Judge Watkins' bailiff enters, nodding to me imperceptibly. Behind him, 2 federal auditors take their places by the door. And if you'll look at these returns, Nathan continues, though his phone is now buzzing constantly. He's starting to look distracted, shifting uncomfortably. You'll see that our innovative approach to... His voice trails off as he notices his father checking his own phone, frowning deeply. Other board members are doing the same, their expressions shifting from polite attention to confused concern. 9:05 a.m. The bailiff steps forward, official documents in hand. Mr. Nathan Harper? Nathan turns, annoyed at the interruption of his big moment. I'm in the middle of something here. You are hereby served with an emergency injunction regarding Vertex Technologies, the bailiff announces clearly, his voice carrying to every corner of the suddenly silent boardroom. By order of Judge Watkins, you are suspended from all duties pending investigation into serious allegations of misappropriation and fraud. The color drains from Nathan's face as he takes the papers with trembling hands. His phone is still buzzing, probably notifications of his accounts being frozen one by one. There must be some mistake, he stammers, looking around the room desperately. His eyes land on me, seeking support, reassurance, the naive trust he's come to expect. Instead, he finds me, calmly opening my laptop, pulling up the folders marked Evidence. No mistake, darling, I say softly, turning the screen so the entire board can see. Would you like to explain these transactions to your colleagues yourself, or shall I? The first image appears on the boardroom's main screen, replacing his fabricated presentation, a detailed spreadsheet of every dollar he's stolen, every lie he's told, every trust he's broken. Behind him, Richard Harper stands slowly, his face a mask of shock and growing fury. Nathan. His father's voice is deadly quiet. What is this? Before he can answer, his phone buzzes one final time. He looks at it reflexively. And I know exactly what he's seeing. A notification that his access to all Vertex Technologies accounts has been suspended. Perhaps, I suggest, standing smoothly, we should discuss the real state of the company, starting with these unusual payments to a certain consulting firm. Nathan slumps into his chair as I take control of the presentation remote. Behind him, the federal auditors begin setting up their equipment. Through the boardroom's glass walls, I can see Michael and Zoe arriving with boxes of additional evidence. The day of reckoning has only just begun. Let's start with this particular transaction, I say, clicking to the next slide. The boardroom. Screen fills with a detailed breakdown of a $175,000 transfer from the corporate account to Olivia's consulting firm, made on February 12th, exactly one day after Olivia's company was registered. Interesting timing, wouldn't you say? Nathan's hands grip the armrests of his chair, knuckles white. Behind him, Richard Harper has switched from shock to cold fury, his jaw clenched as he watches his son's deceptions laid bare. Of course, I continue, clicking through to the next slide. That was just the beginning. Shall we discuss the offshore accounts registered under your childhood pet's name? Or perhaps the series of business development charges at the Four Seasons that coincidentally match perfectly with these Instagram posts. The screen fills with a carefully curated collection, Olivia's social media posts side by side with corporate expenditures. Times and dates perfectly aligned. Each champagne toast, each surprise gift, each luxury weekend mathematically matched with a suspicious withdrawal. This is ridiculous, Nathan finally manages, his voice cracking. These are legitimate business expenses. Dad, I can explain. Explain what exactly? I interrupt smoothly, pulling up another document. How you started embezzling from the company the day after your angel investors saved it from bankruptcy? Or should we discuss how you've been using corporate funds to finance your affair while planning to divorce me? A gasp ripples through the boardroom. Diana Harper, who had slipped in quietly during the presentation, presses a hand to her chest, her face pale beneath her perfect makeup. Divorce? She whispers. Nathan, what is she talking about? Oh, you didn't know? I turn to my mother-in-law with practiced sympathy. Nathan and his financial consultant have quite the future planned, booked with company money, of course. Would you like to see the Kyoto reservations, the engagement ring receipt, or perhaps the draft divorce papers his lawyer drew up last week? Nathan lunges for his phone, probably to warn Olivia, but it's already too late. Through the boardroom's glass walls, we can see her being escorted into the building by security, her designer handbag clutched to her chest like a shield. Perfect timing, I murmur, checking my watch. Security does run quite punctually. Security? Nathan's voice rises an octave. What are you... Did you really think, I cut in, my voice carrying clearly across the stunned boardroom, that you could embezzle millions from a company without consequences? that no one would notice your creative accounting. Walk slowly around the table, every eye following me. Your father made me angel investor representative for a reason, darling. And unlike you, I actually read the financial reports. The federal auditors have set up their equipment now, efficiently downloading data from the company servers. Michael stands at the ready with another stack of documents, the complete forensic accounting of every dollar Nathan has stolen. Mrs. Harper, one of the auditors calls out. We've confirmed the initial findings. The pattern of misappropriation is consistent with your report. Nathan's head snaps up. Your report? Who do you think has been documenting your theft all these months? I ask quietly. Who do you think has been tracking every lie, every secret meeting, every hidden transaction? The wife you thought was too naive to understand finance? The trophy you believed would never question your business meetings? His phone buzzes again. Probably Olivia being brought to the conference room for questioning. Through the glass, I can see her mascara-streaked face as she realizes the magnitude of their situation. I can fix this, Nathan stands abruptly, desperation creeping into his voice. Dad, just let me explain. We can handle this internally. Sit down. Richard Harper's voice could freeze hell itself. You've done quite enough. Actually, I interject, pulling up another document. We're just getting started. Would anyone like to see the company's true performance reports? The ones Nathan has been hiding while presenting his creative fiction? The next hour unfolds like a perfectly choreographed dance. With each new revelation, each piece of evidence, each damning document. Nathan shrinks further into his chair. His carefully constructed world of lies crumbles slide by slide, dollar by dollar. The Cayman Islands accounts have been frozen, Zoe announces from the doorway, and Judge Watkins has approved the emergency audit of all personal assets. Nathan's head snaps up. Personal assets? You can't. Article 7, Section 3 of the corporate bylaws, I quote smoothly. Any executive found to be engaging in actions that endanger or diminish the company's financial standing can be immediately suspended from access to all related assets pending full investigation. Your father insisted I memorize every clause. When he made me investor representative, I add. Shame you never bothered to read them yourself. A commotion outside draws everyone's attention. Olivia is being led to a separate room, her face a mask of panic as she realizes the serious nature of her situation. Through the glass, I watch her reach for her phone, probably to call the lawyer she thinks can save her. Don't bother, I call. Out, loud enough for her to hear through the glass. Your lawyer dropped you 20 minutes ago. Apparently, he has some concerns about being associated with corporate fraud. Nathan stands again, this time moving toward the door. But the security team shifts smoothly to block his path. This is insane! You can't just... Can't what? I ask, my voice deadly quiet. Protect the company from your greed? Prevent you from stealing more of your father's legacy? Or perhaps you're upset that I won't let you drain the accounts to fund your new life with Olivia? I click to the next slide and Nathan actually flinches. It's a photo from last week, him and Olivia at Tiffany's, shopping for engagement rings, the corporate withdrawal for the purchase still pending in the system. Engagement rings? Diana Harper's voice is barely a whisper. While you're still married to Claire. Speaking of marriage, I continue, pulling up another document. Nathan, darling, why don't you explain to everyone why you've been meeting with divorce attorneys? Or should I share the prenup dissolution papers you had drafted? The boardroom is deadly silent now, every eye fixed on Nathan as he realizes just how completely his plans have imploded. His father stands slowly, every inch the powerful CEO whose legacy his son has betrayed. Get him out of my sight, Richard orders, his voice trembling with rage, and call the company lawyers, all of them. As security begins to escort Nathan from the boardroom, His phone buzzes one final time. I know exactly what notification he's receiving. His access to the Vertex Technologies offices has been revoked, his keycard deactivated, his credentials suspended. One more thing, I call out just as he reaches the door. You might want to pack a bag when you get home. The townhouse is part of the company's executive housing program, and as of 9 minutes ago, you're no longer an executive. Nathan turns, his face a mask of disbelief. Where am I supposed to go? I smile, remembering all the nights I lay awake while he was with Olivia, planning this very moment. Perhaps you could stay at the Four Seasons? Oh, wait, your credit cards have all been frozen. Well, I'm sure Olivia would offer her sofa, but... I glance meaningfully at the security team leading her to questioning. She might be a bit preoccupied. As Nathan is led away, Diana Harper approaches me, tears in her eyes. Claire, I'm so sorry. We had no idea he was... It's not your fault. I squeeze her hand gently. You raised a good son. He just made very, very bad choices. Michael appears at my side with another update. Judge Watkins wants to see you, and the forensic accountants have found 3 more offshore accounts. I nod, gathering my things as the federal auditors continue their work. Through the glass walls, I can see Nathan being escorted to the lobby, his world collapsing around him. His phone is probably exploding with notifications. Frozen accounts, canceled cards, suspended memberships, revoked access. Mrs. Harper, one of the federal agents approaches, will need a statement about the corporate discrepancies. Of course, I reply, smoothing my skirt as I stand. I believe I have everything you need right here. I pat my briefcase, filled with months of careful documentation, weeks of meticulous planning, and years of quiet observation. Nathan thought he was so clever, playing his games with the company fortune while his trophy wife smiled quietly at his side. He never realized that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should fear the most. The next few hours unfold like a perfectly orchestrated symphony of consequences. From my temporary office in Vertex Technologies Executive Suite, Nathan's former office ironically, I watch the dominoes continue to fall through multiple screens and live feeds. His attempt to access the Cayman accounts was just denied, Zoe reports, monitoring the financial alerts. He tried using his backup passwords, the ones he thought nobody knew about. I smile, remembering how easy it was to find those passwords, scribbled in his private notebook, the one he kept in his secret safe behind our bedroom's Monet painting. How many attempts? 7 so far, each one triggering another alert to the financial authorities. My phone buzzes with a notification from our home security system. Nathan has arrived at the townhouse, probably hoping to grab some essentials before the locks are changed. Through the camera feed, I watch him frantically shoving designer suits into his luggage, the same suits I helped him select, each one paid for with company money he'll soon have to account for. Should we tell him about the asset freeze? Zoe asks, watching the feed over my shoulder. Let him figure it out. Reply, turning my attention to another screen showing the federal investigators interviewing Olivia. Her confident facade has crumbled completely now, mascara streaking down her face as she realizes the full implications of her role in Nathan's scheme. Mrs. Harper, Michael enters with a fresh stack of documents. The company's private bank just called. They've completed the initial audit of Nathan's personal accounts. I raise an eyebrow. And? He's been skimming from more than just the company. They found irregular transfers from his father's retirement fund, his sister's children's education trust, even the company's charitable foundation. Diana Harper, who's been sitting quietly in the corner trying to process the morning's events, lets out a small sob. The children's education fund, his own nieces and nephews. I move to comfort my mother-in-law, the woman who welcomed me into her family with open arms 4 years ago. We've already reversed the transfers, Diana. The children's futures are secure. My phone lights up with another notification. Nathan trying to check into the Ritz-Carlton using his black card. I can almost see the color drain from his face as the card is declined. Through various feeds and alerts, I track his increasingly desperate attempts. The Four Seasons, declined. The Peninsula, declined. The Mandarin Oriental, declined. His lawyer just dropped him, Zoe announces, checking her messages. Apparently, he tried to pay the retainer with one of the frozen accounts. The firm has concerns about being paid with potentially fraudulent funds. A commotion in the hallway draws our attention. Through the glass walls, we see Olivia being escorted out by federal agents, her designer handbag now filled with copies of her sworn statement. The look she shoots toward Nathan's former office could freeze hell itself. She gave them everything, Michael confirms, reviewing the preliminary report. Every meeting, every transaction, every promise he made. Turns out self-preservation trumps loyalty when federal charges are on the table. My phone buzzes again. A group text from our social circle about the upcoming charity gala at the Museum of Fine Arts. Nathan's sister Elizabeth has already removed him from the planning committee. His name disappears from the guest list in real time, his social world crumbling as quickly as his financial one. The trust fund audit team just found something interesting, Zoe calls out, her eyes wide as she reads from her tablet. Remember those business development trips to Switzerland? I turn to her, intrigued. The ones where he claimed to be meeting with private banking clients? He was actually viewing properties, high-end chalets in the Alps, all conveniently far from extradition treaties. They found incomplete purchase agreements on his company laptop. Diana's head snaps up. He was planning to run with your money? With your family's money, I correct gently. But don't worry, he won't get the chance now. As if on cue, my phone shows another alert. Nathan's passport has been flagged. No international travel without court approval. His world is shrinking by the minute, his options disappearing one by one. The family's crisis management team is ready, Michael informs us. They've prepared statements for the press, the banking, community, and the social registries. I nod, pulling up the draft announcements on my laptop. The careful wording presents the Harper family as victims of Nathan's deception, while emphasizing their swift action to protect the company legacy. No mention of my role, exactly as I planned. Claire, Diana speaks up, her voice stronger now. The annual company foundation gala is next week. With Nathan's situation, perhaps you should take over as chair. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes with an urgent message from the townhouse security team. Nathan is trying to access his home office safe, the one he thinks contains emergency cash and backup credit cards. Don't worry, I assure Diana, watching Nathan's frustrated attempts through the security feed. I already emptied that safe last week. Everything of value is secure in the company vault. Zoe's tablet pings with another update. The forensic team just found his deleted emails. You're not going to believe what he was planning for after the divorce. I turn to the large screen on the wall, now displaying a complex web of Nathan's intended post-divorce financial manipulations. Even I'm impressed by the audacity, if not the intelligence, of his schemes. He was going to claim the company violated securities laws, Zoe explains, highlighting various documents. Threatened to report irregularities to the SEC unless their family paid him a massive settlement. Diana gasps. He would blackmail his own family? He would try, I correct her, pulling up another document. But that would have been difficult considering I've had securities experts reviewing and certifying every company transaction for the past 2 years. My phone lights up with another notification, Nathan's attempt to access his cryptocurrency accounts. Sorry, darling, I murmur to the screen. Those wallets were transferred to the company's secure digital vault last week, along with everything else you thought you'd hidden so cleverly. Through the office windows, I can see the sun setting over Boston Harbor, painting the sky in shades of amber and gold. In the reflection, I catch glimpses of federal agents still combing through files, forensic accountants tracking down every missing dollar, and company lawyers protecting generations of Harper wealth from one man's greed. Mrs. Harper, a senior federal investigator, approaches. We found evidence of potentially criminal transactions dating back 3 years. We'll need your statement about when you first noticed irregularities. I retrieve a carefully prepared timeline from my briefcase. I believe you'll find everything documented here. Every transaction, every unauthorized transfer, every attempt to circumvent company protocols. As the investigators continue their work, I receive one final notification. For the day, Nathan checking into a modest airport motel, paid for with borrowed cash since his accounts remain frozen. Should we tell him about tomorrow? Michael asks, referring to the emergency company board meeting where Nathan will be formally removed from all Harper family enterprises. I shake my head, watching his location dot on my phone's map, so far from the privileged world he's always known. Let him sleep tonight thinking he can still fix this. Tomorrow's revelations deserve a fresh audience. Diana stands, gathering her composure along with her Hermes bag. Claire, we can never thank you enough for protecting the company. For stopping him before he destroyed everything your family spent decades building, I finished gently. Diana, when you welcomed me into your family, you made me a Harper. I protect what's mine. As the office slowly empties, I remain at my desk, surrounded by evidence of Nathan's betrayal and my own careful preparation. On one screen, I watch him pacing in his motel room, probably trying to figure out how his perfect plan imploded so spectacularly. On another, I see Olivia checking into a flight to her parents' home in Wisconsin, her dreams of becoming Mrs. Harper evaporating like morning mist. My phone buzzes one last time, Nathan trying to salvage something from the wreckage of his life. Baby, please, we need to talk. I can explain everything. I smile, thinking of all the nights I lay awake listening to his lies about working late, while I quietly built the case that would bring him down. No need to explain, darling, I text back. The federal investigators have all the explanations they need. Then I turn off my phone, gather my things, and prepare to head home to the townhouse that now belongs solely to me. Tomorrow will bring more revelations, more consequences, more dismantling of Nathan's carefully constructed house of cards. But tonight, I'll sleep soundly in our king-sized bed, alone but victorious, while my husband learns what happens when you mistake quiet patience for weakness and underestimate the woman who held the real power all along. 1 month later, the dust has finally begun to settle. I sit in my new office, the corner suite that once belonged to Richard Harper, reviewing the latest company performance reports. The Boston skyline stretches out before me, a glittering testament to generations of Harper family success that I helped preserve. The Wall Street Journal piece just went live, Zoe announces, entering with her tablet. Today's headline, Vertex Technologies Revival, How Strategic Oversight Saved a Family Empire. Any mention of Nathan? I ask, though I already know the answer. Only as a cautionary tale. They're calling it the ultimate case study in corporate governance. Your quotes about financial responsibility are featured prominently. I smile, remembering the interview I'd given last week. I'd been careful to focus on the importance of proper oversight rather than personal drama. The Harpers, after all, still had a reputation to maintain. My phone lights up with a notification from the federal prosecutor's office. Nathan's plea deal has been finalized. In exchange for a reduced sentence, he's agreed to provide evidence against larger financial fraud schemes he'd become entangled with. His new accommodations are quite a step down from the Four Seasons, Zoe observes dryly, showing me the detention center's location. Though I hear the jumpsuit orange brings out his eyes. Olivia sent another request, Michael adds, entering, with more papers. She's offering to write a tell-all about Nathan's schemes in exchange for immunity. Tell her the federal prosecutors already have everything they need, I reply, pulling up our evidence files. Her Instagram posts provided more than enough documentation. Through my office windows, I can see Vertex Technologies' investment team hard at work under my leadership. They've already recovered every dollar Nathan stole, plus implemented new safeguards to prevent future manipulation. Mrs. Harper, my assistant calls over the intercom, the company board is ready for your quarterly presentation. I gather my materials, including the comprehensive recovery plan I've implemented since taking control. The numbers tell a story of resurrection, assets secured, investments stabilized, legacy protected. Claire. Richard Harper greets me warmly as I enter the boardroom. He's fully recovered now, his natural vigor restored once the stress of Nathan's betrayal was removed. The Harvard Business School case study about your handling of the crisis just went live. I join him at a quiet corner table, accepting a glass of champagne. How's Diana holding up? Better, he sighs. The therapist says accepting Nathan's true nature was the first step. Your protection of the family company gave her the space to focus on healing. My phone shows another alert. Nathan's former office has been completely transformed into the Harper Center for Corporate Governance. The plaque outside reads, "Protecting Legacy Through Wisdom." The family lawyers finished processing the last of his restitution payments. Michael approaches with more updates. Every dollar he stole has been recovered and reinvested. Through the ballroom's windows, I can see the Boston skyline, the same view Nathan used to boast about controlling from his corner office. Now that same office serves as command central for protecting family fortunes from people like him. The financial media is calling it the Harper Standard. Zoe shows me another article. Your protocols for corporate governance are being adopted by companies across the country. I think about the day Nathan first showed me his family's offices, how he patronizingly explained the concept of corporate finance, while I mentally cataloged every weakness in their security system. Your next appointment is here, my assistant announces. The Morgan family's representatives want to discuss implementing your oversight systems. As I prepare for the meeting, my security feed shows one last image of Nathan's former life being dismantled, his prized art collection being auctioned to repay his debt to the company. The same collection he used to lecture me about, never, realizing I'd majored in both art history and finance. Judge Watkins called, Michael adds. She's recommending your case as required reading for financial court judges. Says it's the most comprehensive corporate protection strategy she's ever seen. My phone buzzes with a notification from the Federal Detention Center. Nathan has requested permission to enroll in online financial management courses. Trying to understand where I went wrong, his note reads. Should we tell him about the Foundation's new educational program? Zoe asks, the one teaching corporate executives how to detect and prevent internal fraud. Let him figure it out, I reply, straightening my Chanel jacket. He always said he learned best through experience. Diana joins us, elegant as ever in her role as family matriarch. The Holiday Gala Committee has a suggestion. They want to honor you as guardian of legacy. I shake my head, remembering all the galas where Nathan paraded me around like an accessory. No honors. The secured company speaks for itself. Through my phone, I watch various scenes unfold across the city. Federal investigators using my case to train new financial crimes specialists, business schools teaching the Harper case as a master class in corporate protection, society columnists speculating about Nathan's life behind bars, financial advisors studying my oversight protocols. One last thing, Zoe calls out as I head to my next meeting. Nathan's old social club is reopening their membership waitlist. Care to submit his replacement's name? I smile, thinking of all the times he used that club to impress his mistresses, flaunting the wealth he was secretly stealing. I have a better idea. Let's turn it into another foundation office. Something about financial literacy for future generations. The afternoon sun streams through the office windows, catching the diamond on my left hand. Not my engagement ring from Nathan, but my grandmother's ring, a symbol of true family legacy. On my desk, the latest company reports show growth that would have been impossible under Nathan's manipulation. "Mrs. Harper," my assistant interrupts gently, "the Financial Times is here for your interview about transforming corporate governance." I gather my thoughts, remembering every step of this journey. The quiet wife who watched and waited, the financial expert who documented every lie, the executive who protected generations of wealth, the woman who refused to be underestimated. My phone shows one final notification for the day: Nathan's lawyer making a last desperate pitch for leniency. "He's a changed man," the message pleads. "He understands now what he lost." Too late, I think, heading to the interview. Some lessons come at a price no company account can cover. As I take my seat across from the journalist, I catch my reflection in the window. No longer the trophy wife Nathan thought he married, but the guardian of legacy he never knew he needed. The reporter's first question makes me smile. "Mrs. Harper, how does it feel to have revolutionized corporate protection?" "It feels," I reply, thinking of Nathan in his cell, finally learning the true meaning of accountability. "Exactly like justice." 1 year to the day after Nathan's downfall, I stand in my office at Vertex Tower, watching the sun rise over Boston Harbor. The view is different from up here, both literally and figuratively. The past year has transformed not just the Harper fortune, but the entire landscape of corporate management. My phone lights up with the morning's first notification: Forbes magazine has just released their annual Power Players issue. The cover story: "The Woman Who Changed Corporate America, Claire Harper's Revolution." The Times piece also went live this morning. I scan the headline, amused by the irony. Silent. Partner to Power Player: How Claire Harper Transformed Vertex Technologies. A year ago, these same publications barely noticed me. Just another pretty wife in Manhattan's social circus. Now they're studying my methods in business schools. I take a sip of my morning espresso, surveying the empire I've rebuilt from Nathan's ashes. The company's value has tripled since I took over. What Nathan tried to destroy has become a beacon of financial wisdom, helping other families protect their legacies from similar threats. My assistant Caroline knocks softly before entering my office. "Your 9 a.m. is here, the Silicon Valley delegation." I nod, straightening my Brunello Cucinelli blazer. "Send them in 5 minutes." Ever since the Harper method became the gold standard for corporate governance, I've had a steady stream of tech executives seeking my guidance. Funny how the same men who would have dismissed me at cocktail parties a year ago now pay premium consulting fees for an hour of my time. After Caroline leaves, I pull up the latest report on Nathan's case. His sentencing was last week: 4 years in a minimum security facility, plus restitution payments that will keep him working well into his 70s. A fair outcome, all things considered. I could have pushed for more, but this wasn't about vengeance. It was about justice and protection. The photographs from the courtroom show a different man than the one I married. Gone are the designer suits and the smug confidence. In their place, a deflated figure in off-the-rack clothing, shoulders slumped under the weight of his consequences. His final letter arrived yesterday, handwritten on cheap paper, a far cry from the monogrammed stationery he once insisted upon. Unlike his earlier desperate pleas and angry accusations, this one was different, reflective, almost genuine. I finally understand what I had, what I threw away. Not just the company or the money, but the brilliant woman I never truly saw. Too late, Nathan. You had 4 years to see me standing right in front of you. I close the file as my intercom buzzes. "Mrs. Harper, there's a Ms. Reynolds here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment." "Olivia, I should have expected this." "Send her up." 5 minutes later, she stands in my doorway. The transformation is striking. Gone are the designer clothes and carefully styled hair. Instead, she wears a simple blouse and slacks, her face free of the heavy makeup she once favored. "Claire," she begins, her voice lacking its former confidence. "Thank you for seeing me." I gesture to the chair across from my desk. "What can I do for you, Olivia?" She sits, hands folded tightly in her lap. "I've completed the community service portion of my plea agreement. I've been teaching financial literacy to at-risk women." "I know," I reply evenly. "I receive the, quarterly reports." "Of course I do. The program was my idea, part of Vertex Technologies' new corporate responsibility initiative. Turning Nathan and Olivia's misdeeds into something productive seemed fitting." "I'm good at it," she says, a flicker of pride crossing her face. These women, many of them were like me, thinking their only value was in pleasing powerful men. I study her carefully. The woman before me is so different from the one who posed with champagne flutes at the Four Seasons, flaunting gifts bought with stolen money. "The program funding ends next month," she continues. "I'd like to apply for the permanent position." "Working for the Harper Foundation?" I raise an eyebrow. "That's bold, Olivia." She meets my gaze steadily. "I made terrible choices. I can't undo them. But I can use what I learned to help others avoid the same mistakes." I consider her request. The old Claire, the one Nathan thought he married, might have rejected it outright. But leadership isn't about punishing past mistakes. It's about recognizing potential and channeling it productively. "Submit your application through proper channels," I tell her. "The foundation director makes hiring decisions independently. But," I add, "I won't oppose it if your qualifications merit consideration." Relief washes across her face. "Thank you." As she turns to leave, curiosity gets the better of me. "Have you heard from him?" She pauses, her back to me. "One letter. Asking for money for his commissary account." I almost laugh at the predictability. "And?" "I returned it unopened," she says, a hint of steel in her voice. "I'm done being used." After she leaves, I find myself reflecting on the parallel. Transformations. Nathan descending as Olivia rises from the ashes of her mistakes. Perhaps there's a lesson in that too. My phone buzzes with a message from Diana Harper. "Brunch still on for Sunday? The grandkids can't wait to see Aunt Claire." Another unexpected development from the past year. After Nathan's fall, his family didn't cast me out as many expected. Instead, Diana drew me closer, treating me more like a daughter than ever before. "You protected our legacy," she told me. "That makes you more of a Harper than Nathan ever was." The Harper family Sunday brunches have become a treasured tradition. Richard mentors me on the history of the company, while Elizabeth's children pepper me with questions about business. The youngest, Sophie, has already declared she wants to be just like Aunt Claire when she grows up. I smile, typing back my confirmation as Caroline reminds me of my waiting appointments. The rest of the day unfolds in a carefully orchestrated schedule of meetings, decisions, and strategic planning. Under my leadership, Vertex Technologies has expanded into 3 new markets, launched 2 groundbreaking products, and established a scholarship program for young women in business. Each success feels like another brick in the foundation of my legacy, not Nathan's, not the Harper's, but mine. The company I rescued has become the company I've reimagined. By evening, I find myself at the Harvard Business School, giving a guest lecture on corporate ethics and governance. The irony isn't lost on me. Standing at the same podium where Nathan once spoke, addressing a packed auditorium instead of the half-empty room that greeted him. "The greatest threat to any organization," I tell the eager faces before me, "isn't external competition, but internal complacency. The belief that you're too clever to be caught, too important to be questioned, too powerful to be challenged." A hand raises in the back. "Mrs. Harper, your story has been described as the ultimate corporate revenge. Would you agree with that characterization?" I consider the question carefully. No, I reply. Revenge implies emotional motivation. What I did was strategic protection. When you see something valuable being destroyed by negligence or greed, you don't act out of vengeance. You act out of responsibility. Another student leans forward. But surely there was some satisfaction in watching your husband face consequences. My satisfaction, I correct gently, comes from seeing Vertex Technologies thriving, from knowing that hundreds of employees kept their jobs, from watching Richard Harper retire with dignity and Elizabeth's children secure their educational futures. I pause, allowing the next words to carry weight. When you focus on revenge, you remain tied to the past. I prefer to build the future. After the lecture, I decline the dean's dinner invitation and head home to my new residence, a penthouse overlooking the Charles River. The townhouse holds too many memories, so I sold it and donated the proceeds to the foundation's educational programs. My private elevator opens directly into the foyer, where floor-to-ceiling windows capture the city lights. Unlike the townhouse Nathan insisted on decorating with ostentatious displays of wealth, this space reflects my true tastes. Clean lines, thoughtfully curated art, and comfortable elegance. I kick off my heels and pour a glass of wine, scrolling through the day's final emails. An alert catches my attention. Nathan has been transferred to the prison's financial education program. Apparently, he's showing exceptional aptitude for teaching other inmates about corporate compliance. The irony makes me smile. Perhaps in his own way, Nathan is finally contributing something valuable to society. My doorbell rings unexpectedly. Security hasn't announced anyone. Curious, I check the monitor to find Zoe holding a bottle of champagne. "Surprise inspection," she announces when I open the door. Making sure the most powerful woman in Boston remembers to celebrate her victories. I laugh, ushering her in. Zoe, who stood beside me through every step of Nathan's takedown, has been promoted to general counsel at Vertex. Our friendship, forged in the crucible of crisis, has only strengthened with time. "What are we celebrating?" I ask, fetching glasses. "Are you kidding?" She pulls out her phone, showing me a notification I missed. The Senate committee just approved the Harper Standards for Corporate Governance. Your testimony last month sealed the deal. This is going national, Claire. I feel a momentary dizziness as the implications sink in. What began as protecting one company has evolved into legislation that will safeguard thousands. We toast on the balcony, the cool autumn air carrying the scent of the river. "Did you ever imagine this outcome?" Zoe asks, gesturing to the city below us. "When you first discovered Nathan's betrayal?" "No," I admit. "I just wanted to protect what mattered. And instead, you built something greater." Later that night, after Zoe leaves, I find myself drawn to my home office. In the bottom drawer of my desk lies a sealed envelope, Nathan's final personal effects from the townhouse, which I never opened. Tonight feels different. Perhaps it's the milestone of the Harper Standards, or the symmetry of exactly 1 year since his downfall. Whatever the reason, I break the seal. Inside, among cufflinks and business cards, I find a small velvet box. My engagement ring, the one I returned to him the day after his arrest. With it, a note in his handwriting. "I hope someday you'll understand why I kept this. It remains the one truly perfect decision I ever made." I close the box without putting on the ring. Nathan still doesn't get it. Even now, he sees our marriage as his decision, his choice. He never understood that I chose him too, saw potential in him that he squandered on greed and ego. Returning the box to the drawer, I walk to the window. Boston glitters below, a constellation of lights that seems to mirror the journey that brought me here. Not as Nathan's wife or Richard's daughter-in-law, but as Claire Harper, the woman who transformed a personal betrayal into a professional revolution. My phone buzzes with a text from Elizabeth. Just heard about the Senate. Committee. Dad would be so proud. Mother's over the moon. Family dinner tomorrow to celebrate? Family. Not by Nathan's side, but in my own right. Not the role I expected, but perhaps the one I was meant to play all along. As I get ready for bed, I pass the framed article hanging in my hallway. The first major profile written about me after taking control of Vertex. The headline still makes me smile. The Silent Partner Speaks, How Claire Harper Saved Vertex Technologies. The reporter had asked if I had any regrets about my marriage to Nathan. My answer became the article's closing quote. Regret assumes there was a mistake. I prefer to see it as research. I learned exactly what kind of leader I didn't want to be, which clarified precisely the leader I intended to become. The next morning, I wake before dawn, a habit formed during those months, of silently gathering evidence against Nathan. But now, the early hours serve a different purpose. This is my time to think, plan, and envision the next chapter. Over my morning coffee, I review the speech I'll give at today's press conference announcing the new Harper Institute for Corporate Ethics. Funded by the recovered money from Nathan's schemes, the Institute will train the next generation of business leaders to prioritize integrity over profit, sustainability over short-term gains. As I look out over the city, I remember something my grandmother once told me. The quietest person in the room is often the one with the most to say. Nathan never bothered to listen. Now he has all the time in the world to contemplate the true cost of underestimating the woman he thought he'd fooled. The story of Vertex Technologies will be told for generations, not as a tragedy of betrayal, but as a testament to the strength that lies in being underestimated. And somewhere in a federal prison cell, Nathan finally understands the most expensive lesson of his life. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should have feared the most. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out!